church's DNA doesn't change. That's why if you're doing a restart, you have to really find out what are the core stories of the church and how can you build on that. The altar that's behind me was one of the only things that survived a tornado in 1896, and so it's a symbol of their resilience and capacity to rebuild. This church, historically in St. Louis, it's been here since 1841. It's considered itself a very progressive church from the beginning. The first rector died during the cholera epidemic because he refused to leave his parishioners. It was one of the first churches to eliminate pew rents west of the Mississippi. And so finding out that this church was historically progressive and also resilient meant that we had the potential to live into those ideals and to build a new congregation here.
We were without a priest for a number of years, and so the congregation just shrunk because we needed that person in the area just to be in the community. And Pastor Teresa is just, from the moment she came, the congregation just started to grow.
I started here July 1st, 2004. I was 26, hadn't even been ordained a priest yet, completely inexperienced. At the time, there was a remnant of a congregation here. There was about maybe 20 members. The congregation that was here had been in survival mode. It was really hurting. They didn't really trust the priest, me, that I would stay. The first couple years were really about building relationships and trust, and then being in the streets constantly, going to meetings, constantly meeting people in the neighborhood, and building the new congregation as well.
So it came from 18 people every Sunday to maybe then 25, and then it was lovely to come every Sunday and see the progression. So now, last Sunday, perhaps 100 people. It was very, very pleasant.
The growth in this community has really been about people making a commitment to living in the city of St. Louis and raising their kids here and wanting to be part of a church that's invested in the neighborhood. This community has both white and black families of more working class backgrounds, a very diverse lesbian and gay population, white kids raised in the suburbs that move back to the city. It's pretty diverse.
We have so many new people who've come to take on the various other roles, which is a delightfully refreshing change.
We have the Immigrant and Refugee Women's Program. We have the African Mutual Assistance Association. We have Trans Haven, which is a trans advocacy group. To me, that's what a church should be. It should be a place where everybody in the community feels welcome, whether or not they worship here.
We started the St. Louis Community Farmers Market at St. John's Church about 5 years ago. Not only does it help the farmers sell their merchandise, but it also helps the community get the fresh food that they want.
There's just an interconnectedness between, the market and the church community and the community surrounding the church, even, outside that particular denomination itself. So I think it's really nice, actually.
I'm a lay person and I'm a catechist. And I also am a chef and make soups to sell to the community in benefit for our feeding program, the Peace Meal Project.
For St. John's, the Peace Meal is a precursor to the Eucharistic meal on Sunday morning, which of course is a precursor to the heavenly banquet that we all hope for, where everybody is welcome and everybody is fed. But the point of it is to really provide a dignified place where people can both come for fellowship and community and to get a healthy meal.
A real sense of people coming in and feeling a sense of belonging. You still very much feel of it as a spiritual place. For me, it's all about the service. I love the very continuity and familiarity of it, and yet I love all of the changes that have come around. So for me, it's still that sense of real doing God's work. So many churches close, and then you see them being turned into restaurants or, and that was my one fear, and now to see it so active.
You can't just grow. It doesn't just happen magically. You have to be very intentional about it and invite people to church. You know, in kind of a very old-fashioned Anglican sense, we are the church of the parish. And so I'm here to, you know, meet people in the coffee shop or on the street, or they come in my office or at the peace meal, and to try to help connect them to resources or to pray with them or whatever they need, regardless of whether or not they walk through these doors on Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon.